What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the stream. We're going to be talking about the price of Bitcoin today, talking about a few possibilities for the price of Bitcoin. So we're going to let people join in, but welcome back to the stream. We're going to get started here in just a few minutes, so definitely stay tuned. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the stream. So Bitcoin did have a breakout today. Currently trading above 7,500, broke above previous resistance. So guys, let me know if the audio is working well. Haven't done a stream in quite a while, actually. I think it's been many months since I've done a live stream. So guys, welcome back. I see a lot of familiar faces. Edward Park, Crypto, Crazy Callie. Both have been watching my channel for a couple years now, actually. So guys, definitely hit the likes as we get started here. Right now I just have the 5-minute chart up just because I see a lot of familiar faces here. What's up, guys? Definitely smash that like button. All right, so Bitcoin finally got the breakout we were looking for. We're actually playing out this bump and run bullish reversal pattern right now. So everything is looking pretty good. Of course, the stock market is currently up today as well. So overall, sentiment is quite bullish. Let's hop into the 4-hour chart on the S&P. Again, on this channel recently, we've been talking a lot about how if the stock market sees a major reversal, then Bitcoin could see at least a little bit of a sell-off. But we have not seen that reversal. We're actually bouncing back. And I do think the S&P could be looking to target upwards of 3,000. And this would mean that Bitcoin would very likely see continued upside. And this is what we've been talking about in a few of my past videos. So we are getting that upside we were looking for. We actually hit that $7,700 target and exceeded it by 75 bucks there. So that's good. If you guys were watching many of my previous videos, I was saying we're going to at least hit 7,700 in my opinion. And the $7,700 level is this level right here, where we found support back in September, October of 2019. We also found resistance here in December at the end of the year. And it was, there's just, previous support, previous resistance, previous support recently. There's just a lot of reasons why 7,700 would have been that target and is that target. And we actually just hit that target. But we'll have to see, guys. Another interesting thing I talked about in some of my previous videos was the fact that we might have some bot action taking place here, because we're seeing a repeat pattern take place. This Adam and Eve pattern, Adam, Eve, double top pattern happened multiple times now. And it's possible, like I discussed in one of my previous videos, it's possible that we might actually get something similar here if the bots are really in control of this market right now before the next leg up, right? So just keep that in mind. We could have a little bit more sideways action here. We might be looking to trade, we might be looking to potentially pull back a little bit, come back to retest that high at 7,775 before pulling back to support, creating yet another higher low before the next move up. This is something that I actually think is quite possible right now. We are seeing this pattern repeat possibly again, but I could be wrong about that. That's just a theory. Like maybe the bots are painting this pattern on the chart. If we can hold above 7,430, then we may just continue up. We may just confirm that as support and just see more bullish price action without any strange bot patterns. Hold on, I think somebody just said, Master of the WP, thanks for helping me get started with streaming. Yeah, dude, no problem. Gave him some tips. He's trying to start streaming games. Hold on, we have 240 people watching. Definitely hit the like button. Let me go through some chat. So let's look at the weekly chart real quick. If you guys remember, we were talking a lot about the 21-week EMA. Remember that? I actually didn't even notice this until right now. I was saying the 21-week EMA might be that upside target, that next upside target, and that is actually where we just hit. That's actually where we're getting resistance right now. So that's interesting. 21-week EMA. Guys, a lot of times actually, what I've noticed is, once we cross the 21-week EMA, we usually get a lot of pretty strong moves, right? So if we can cross above the 21-week EMA, we might see a powerful shift to the upside. I would say at least 8,200 if we can get above the 21-week EMA. At least 8,200. But also keep in mind, 21-week EMA is a pretty historic moving average. A lot of times altcoins actually see a lot of action as well. When you cross that 21-week EMA, I've noticed that altcoins start to move, have actually pretty significant moves. Right now, everything's looking good. All the top cryptos are following Bitcoin to the upside. Bitcoin up over 5.5%. Also, guys, CryptoWatch just added the stock to flow model. So if you're looking, if you go to the analysis drop down tool, you can click stock to flow. Looking at the weekly chart, Bitcoin is looking for potentially the next major phase to the upside if we are going to follow the stock to flow model. Generally, Bitcoin doesn't diverge all too much out of this, the stock to flow channel here. On the some upside, when things are really bullish, sometimes we, exceed that upper channel and then we come back into it. Happens a couple times. But generally, we're staying within it. During this bull phase here, we were actually exiting the channel to the downside a little bit, but we generally stayed within it. And right now, guys, we're actually coming to, we're coming up to the halving. And routinely, Bitcoin usually sees upside according to this model. And I guess technically, some people are saying that based on stock to flow, we're going to be sitting at 30,000 by the end of 2020. But I personally, I'm a little bit skeptical of that. We don't necessarily have to follow this model exactly. Again, the global market environment is going to probably have a lot of an effect on the price of Bitcoin. So if the global markets are overall very bearish, then it's possible that Bitcoin may not see as quick of a rise as the model suggests. It's possible. But according to this model, we should be moving up in the next few months. But we'll have to see, guys. We'll have to see. External factors can change things sometimes. It's possible. So I'm keeping an open mind on this. I'm not, I've never been a stock to flow guy, but, it has held true in the past. And also CryptoWatch just added this to the platform, which I think is interesting. So another thing is, the main indication that I have right now that Bitcoin has found its major market low, which I discussed in a lot of my videos, but it's the fact that we saw record weekly volume. We hit that low point, 38.58, and we saw record volume levels, actually volume levels that were exceeding the 20K volume levels. Of course, because it is cheaper down here, but still, that's very impressive. I mean, the amount of buying that we saw afterward on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 now consecutive weekly candles. Of course, we still have 3 days left on this weekly, but that buying is actually quite impressive, guys. You have to realize, when you look at this volume, what it should tell you is that there is a lot of demand for Bitcoin at these low prices. There's a lot of interest in getting a hold of Bitcoin at these low prices. And there's a lot of people that I've noticed, a lot of my friends, even just my personal friends, have been telling me, "Hey, Kevin, I'm looking to buy Bitcoin now. It's cheap." And I'm just, some hedge funds, some funds are accumulating Bitcoin right now as well. Like some funds that were never even considering buying Bitcoin are now looking at Bitcoin because of the cheap prices. So there's just, and all of that reflects in the chart. You can see there's just a ton of buy interest at these low levels, guys. A ton of buy interest. And also, interestingly enough, we're coming up to the 21-week EMA, as I was talking about before, and getting a shift above this blue 21-week EMA would be a very bullish sign. Right now, it is acting as some resistance, but getting a shift above that usually brings a lot of bullish price action. So the 21-week EMA is our current resistance, and getting above that is going to be an extremely bullish signal. And of course, guys, like 3 or 4 weeks ago, we were talking about the bump and run bullish reversal pattern, and that has played out. That's good. So we actually broke above that downward sloping resistance. So we had this downward sloping channel. We had a major impulse off of that downtrend, and we reversed straight back up and through that previous downtrend, and now we're seeing a breakout. So the bump and run bullish reversal pattern has played out. We got the breakout, and that's all looking good. What's up, guys? I see a lot of familiar people in the chat right now. Guys, I haven't done a stream in months. This is my first live stream in many, many months. Let me hop into chat real quick and see what everyone's saying. I have to get used to streaming again. I used to stream a lot. Thunderstruck says you've stuck to your guns, mate. Kudos. Yeah, guys, I've been holding my bullish bias for over a month now. And again, like I was just talking about, a lot of that had to do with just the record volume. There's just so much interest in Bitcoin at these low levels, and traders right now, people that are buying Bitcoin aren't, a lot of people aren't even waiting for lower prices. I think people are just realizing that all of these levels are good levels long term. I mean, long term, these are all great levels to be accumulating Bitcoin. And for the longest time when we were trading down here, as we were seeing higher lows here, and I was keeping my bullish bias, and of course, like on every single dip, people came to tell me how wrong I was on every single dip, right? But we kept creating higher lows, and we've now had a breakout. And I don't see the bears coming back to troll me anymore. The bears, I think, have all died. I think they're all dead, guys. The bear is dead for the time being. We'll see what actually happens, but the bearish trolls have completely disappeared. But again, also keep in mind the S&P, guys. If there is a reversal here, if we do actually see major downside here. Oh man, I have the wrong color. Whatever. I'm just going to do it like this. Guys, if we do see, I don't really use TradingView very much at all. Why isn't the color coming up? I'm like a TradingView noob. I only use CryptoWatch. Okay, anyway. If we do see a pullback, guys, and we do see a reversal, Bitcoin is going to see most likely some downside, at least some downside. If and when the S&P has a reversal, maybe it happens at higher prices. I don't know. We'll have to see what actually happens. I would expect some increased levels of volatility for the S&P right now. I'm looking at the weekly chart. At the end of major market cycles, we usually see high levels of volatility like this, right? And I would expect that S&P would at least see a few months of major downswings, followed by major upswings. It's going to be interesting to see how Bitcoin reacts to this, because we have the halving coming up now, so that is a major factor to keep in mind, which will probably create some bullish sentiment and some increased levels of buying and reduced selling pressure from miners. But if the S&P does see a pullback, I would expect that Bitcoin would at least come back to test some lower prices, most likely. I could be wrong about that. Just looking at chat right now. Guys, definitely hit the like button on this video. Just checking out chat, see whatever. People talk about gap fills. Guys, I'm not a big gap fill person. Are we still streaming? I think we are. That was weird. I think the stream just lagged for a second, but yeah, I'm not really a gap fill type person. I don't really care too much about gaps. In my opinion, Bitcoin is extremely volatile. And in my opinion, gaps fill naturally. I think gaps have natural, I don't think the market is targeting gaps to fill them in Bitcoin because of the CME. I just don't, not for Bitcoin. I think gaps fill naturally. There are certain moments where gaps fill because, let's say the CME opens and we have a gap up, and sometimes you'll see a wick down to fill the gap. Those quick gap fills happen a lot, but I don't rely on gaps for price targets. That's just not, a lot of people were talking about the $7,700 gap. I mean, the 7,700 gap here, right? And then we came back and we hit it. and everyone was like, "Oh, look, Bitcoin sold off from 10,500 all the way down to 7,700 or whatever it was just to fill the gap." And then we had this major dump, and that was proven wrong. Like the global markets were just bearish, right? And Bitcoin was also just bearish, and we didn't sell off to fill a gap to go up again. Obviously not. I'm not a gap fill person. I think that's a little bit insane to just think that that the market is just targeting every gap. And I would never base my targets based off gaps, but I could be wrong. MS says, "Hello, Kevin, first live stream." Now, guys, I used to do live streams all the time, especially back in 2018. Like, I started my channel here when Bitcoin was at like 15,000 or something, 12, 15,000. And I was warning about prices like 2,500 back in January of 2018. Once we broke down right here, I was going live every single day. And that's kind of how my channel grew initially, was this breakdown, this initial breakdown. I used to do live streams all the time in this area. And then I also did a lot of live streams when we hit just below 14,000, and I was warning of a larger scale parabolic formation. Although, of course, my original prediction was that Bitcoin was just going to be, creating higher lows, creating a larger scale parabolic move, going into the halving. But, of course, we had a global market crisis and Bitcoin dumped. It is what it is. But we are having an incredible recovery right now, which is awesome to see. What is up, everyone? Welcome to the chat. I'm just looking at chat. So Bitcoin right now is testing just above 7,500. So we're just above previous resistance right now. So 7,466 was the previous resistance, and we're just above it right now. Coming back to possibly retest it or come back below it, possibly. Now, again, I just explained this before. I'm not sure how reliable this is at all, but it's something to take note of, and that is that I think the bots could be at play right now. We have these Adam and Eve double top patterns. We're seeing some like repeat patterns here. So it's possible that we could see something like that again. Maybe we come back below resistance, bounce up to retest support, see some lower lows, and then recover from there. Maybe. Again, this is very, very speculative, but we've seen this happen already. And essentially, this would just create another higher low for us if we were to play out a pattern like that, just like we did before. It's a very speculative idea, but I think it's actually possible. The bots might be at play, painting the price on the chart right now. Also, let's see. Chainlink is trading at $3.80, above $3.80. Chainlink doing pretty good. The recovery for Chainlink has been absolutely incredible, guys. I mean, this dip got bought up so fast. So fast. Congratulations to all the Chainlink holders that not only had strong hands, but also bought that dip with this recovery. I mean, unbelievable demand for Chainlink, guys. There is so much demand for Chainlink. So much demand. The price always recovers. I mean, it is definitely an overperformer in the market. We're always recovering. We're always bouncing back. There's always demand. Edward Park snagged 700 link under $2. Nice. Yeah, guys, I think Chainlink is going to definitely be one of. I'm extremely certain that Chainlink is going to be a top performer in the next bull cycle. I'm extremely confident about that because it can be used by, multiple blockchains. Can use you can even use Chainlink for things that aren't blockchain related. You can connect APIs with Chainlink, and you don't even have to be using blockchains. You can just use Chainlink. I think that's what Swift is doing. They're looking to use Chainlink for their API systems and their money transfer systems and their settlement systems. And you can use Chainlink for things that aren't even blockchain related, which is, I mean, the use case just expands exponentially at that point. People are asking about the price of Chainlink this year. I mean, I can't really say that. I have no idea. Let's see. It's really hard to tell, guys, because the thing about trying to predict Chainlink's price is it's a blue sky breakout. If we break out higher, um, it means we have a blue sky breakout. Hold on, let me pull it up on Binance. Of course, we had this insane wick not too long ago. So yeah, guys, I mean, when the price, if the price breaks above $5 here, we have no previous resistance, right? Chainlink has never been above these prices, which means that it's going to be going through price discovery, right? There's no way to really know where the price is going to stop. There's no previous resistance. Basically, the amount of demand that is existing for Chainlink at the time of the breakout is going to determine how high the price goes. If there's tons of demand on the breakout, then we might see a huge breakout. If there's moderate demand, it might be like a moderate breakout. It's not an easy prediction to make. I mean, there's a few. I mean, short-term upside targets. If we break out, I mean, you could probably be looking for $6.50, maybe at the 1618, possibly 650, maybe $7 before any kind of pullback or any before. It's hard, guys. Again, it's hard to tell. It's a blue sky breakout if we break out above previous resistance. So it's all about the amount of demand that the market has at the moment of the breakout that's going to determine how high the price goes. So it's really unpredictable. But long term, guys, I'm looking at Chainlink probably moving into, at least above $10, possibly as high as $30 long term. Again, I hold cryptos long term, guys. Now, of course, that sounds crazy, right? Oh, Kevin's saying Chainlink $30. Wow, like what a moon boy. But guys, you have to understand how bullish things can get in a true bull market. I mean, imagine you're talking to somebody in 2017 and you're buying Ethereum at $30 and you're like, yeah, we're probably going to go to 1400, and you're sitting at $30. Nobody believes that, right? I think $30 long term is actually a good target for Chainlink. It's really not in crypto, guys. Going from the current price $3.80 to $30 is actually not that big of a deal. Like, I mean, it's a huge deal, but I'm saying it's not something we haven't seen before. Good crypto assets see gains like that. That's just what happens in a bull market. Solid crypto projects that have real money interest from institutions like Swift that handle $5 trillion per day, and they have interest from Google and Oracle. Huge companies that want to at least test out with it. And Swift wants to use Chainlink. I mean, you're going to see a lot of gains, guys. We have like real institutions looking at this. You're gonna see a lot of gains. eventually. We'll see. It's all up to Bitcoin kind of to determine how bullish Chainlink gets. So halving is coming up, and it's going to be, I'm curious to see if Bitcoin's going to follow the stock to flow model. Of course, traditional markets could affect things if we do eventually see a reversal. But overall, I mean, I think demand for Bitcoin is going to be increasing as the halving comes around. A lot of people are saying, like halving dump. Personally, guys, my original outlook on Bitcoin was that we would essentially have a move up, the next parabolic advance, and then sell off after the halving to retest support and then continue up. This is kind of what I was looking for. But of course, we had a major disaster across the world, and that didn't play out. Things got a lot more bearish. So that traditional halving cycle is not necessarily in play, where we have one parabolic advance, two parabolic advances, and then you break the all-time high, which is traditionally how the halving plays out traditionally. And it would be going with the stock to flow model like this. Right now, things are a little different, right? We came back to retest our lows in the 3,000 range. Guys, you know what's interesting? The last time Bitcoin was at 3,000, we were here. We were right there, guys, right? So people that say there's no correlation, I'm sorry to tell you, you're wrong. There is a correlation. The last time Bitcoin was at 3,000 was during this dip, and the next time Bitcoin hit the 3,000 range was during the next dip, right? So when the stock market is extremely bearish, Bitcoin is generally extremely bearish, and the opposite, right? When the stock market is extremely bullish, Bitcoin's generally extremely bullish. But overall, guys, I mean, we've had a really good recovery. I mean, looking at these weekly candles, just tons of demand. So let me know in the chat below, do you guys think that Bitcoin is going to follow the stock to flow model? Click 1 if you think we will, and click 2 if you think we won't. So click 1 if you think that, ultimately Bitcoin is going to follow this model going into 2021. Or if you think that we're going to do something completely random, click 2. So far, we've been following it, and even with the recent dump, guys, we're still on track. Let's see. Most people are saying 1. Most people think we will be following the stock to flow model. Again, guys, this is more of a, I don't plan these live streams. I just hanging out, moon and chill. Bitcoin seeing some nice bullish price action. Let's look at the 30-minute. It would be interesting to see if we can get continuation off this level. Not much sellers stepping in just yet. Still above previous resistance. Yeah, most people are saying Bitcoin will follow the stock to flow model. Guys, we're almost at 200 likes. Let's see if we can get there. This pump is looking pretty good. Not much selling taking place just yet. Really nice to see turning previous resistance into new support, getting a rally and breaking resistance. Again, guys, like I've been saying in all of my videos, well, for one, for the past many weeks, we've been discussing that 7,700 is the minimum upside target in the short term, and we actually just hit that and exceeded it a little bit. And also what I've been saying is if the stock market continues up or at least sustains higher prices, then Bitcoin would very likely also continue to see upside. And that is what we're seeing. So that's also good to see. Just reading chat. Hold on. Michael asks, do you use order book, Kevin? Nah, I don't really rely. There are some traders that can make really good trades based off the order book. Personally, I don't really like specialize in studying order books and order book analysis. Essentially, like I don't really do that. I'm more of a market structure kind of guy. I rely mostly on market structure. And I'm very focused on long-term moves. And from my experience doing macro analysis, it was pretty easy to tell that this was the low and that we would see a reversal. Almost exclusively just analyzing volume, I was able to identify the low point and a most likely Bitcoin getting a reversal. Almost exclusively just looking at volume, guys. Because, every other time you get this type of huge spike in volume, these huge spikes in volume, where's this last spike in volume at? Interesting, at the $14,000 reversal point. Where's this next volume area, high volume area? Interesting, right after we dumped and then we trade sideways and rally back up. Isn't that interesting? Okay, the next major volume spike, 6,000. Interesting, right where we found temporary support. Next major volume spike, 20,000. Interesting. Right where we had the peak for Bitcoin in the reversal. So this is the kind of stuff that I look for. This is sort of my bread and butter. Basically, these like longer term macro signals. This is what I look for. This is what we've been talking about for the past month or more. That dump was the low and that we would very likely see a reversal. Based off volume, guys, when you have this much volume, right, and the available supply on the market shifts hands that quickly, and there's that much volume at those low prices, it becomes extremely unlikely that the market would dump lower than that again. It's extremely unlikely when you see those types of volume levels. The amount of buying that was taking place down here was huge. It was huge. And as you guys notice, the bears are gone, right? All the bearish trolls, all the people that were saying, oh, we're dumping again. Every time Bitcoin saw a little bit of downside, everybody was calling for 3,000 again. Every time. It was one of the most frustrating things I've ever dealt with. Sorry, guys. I there's too much chat for me to really read every comment. I do see XRP India is in here as well. Adding you back as mod. Guys, I don't know what happened to my mod positions. Kevin Blangier here, I'm going to give you a mod. Everything reset somehow. All my mods are gone. If I recognize you, I will probably give you a mod position. No. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. Some of my original followers are not having mod positions, which is weird. Yeah, again, guys, I'm just hanging out. Live stream. First live stream I've done in many months. So I'm getting used to this again. I used to have a really good flow for my streams, and now I've almost forgotten what it's like to be live. So bear with me. Uh, Agartha says, Kevin, S&P is still bearish. What effect do you think it will have on Bitcoin? Yeah, guys. So that is what I've talked about in my past 3 videos, actually. My past 3 posts on YouTube have all been about Bitcoin's relation to the stock market. And it's a really, a lot of people like to simplify Bitcoin's correlation to the stock market. A lot of people like to just say it's not correlated or it is correlated. And it's actually not one or the other. You can't just say it's not correlated and you can't just say it is correlated. I mean, you can try to make the argument either way, but it's actually a really complex topic. In my last video I posted, the one that's the thumbnail says important Bitcoin analysis, I go into a lot of detail about how Bitcoin behaves in relation to the stock market, and it's not a simple answer. It's not an easy answer. There's a lot of factors to take into account. So, like, again, if the stock market continues up to 3,000, who knows? Bitcoin could be testing as high as 9,000. Who knows, right? Who knows how bullish we're going to get here? If the stock market sees just like some sideways action at this area, maybe Bitcoin will do something like that. But here's the factor that I've been considering is that, let's say the stock market sees a huge dump. Let's say the S&P sees another massive dump again. What we just saw in the price of Bitcoin was when we came down to 3,858. We saw record volume levels. We saw record buy action on the daily chart here at those low levels. On that daily candle right there. There was so much demand for Bitcoin at those low levels that even after Bitcoin found that low, right? After that moment, the S&P was actually coming down the final few days here. The S&P was seeing lower lows, lower lows, lower lows, and Bitcoin was actually breaking out, trading against the S&P, because at these low prices, there is so much demand for Bitcoin that that the demand just totally outweighs anything else. You see? So the demand for Bitcoin at these low levels is just that high to the point where it can trade against the global markets. And that's what we saw. We were seeing higher lows for Bitcoin, like say March 16th, a low, March 18th, a higher low, the S&P, March 16th, a low, March 18th, a lower low, right? So we were seeing lower lows in the S&P, and Bitcoin was seeing higher lows. That's how much demand there is for Bitcoin at these low levels, which is why I've been saying I do think Bitcoin has found its low, and I don't think we're going to be going below 3,858, hopefully ever again. Hopefully ever again until 100 years from now when Bitcoin is obsolete. Because, at some point it will be, guys. That's just the reality. I mean, maybe it won't. Maybe it won't. Maybe AI will protect Bitcoin's blockchain eventually. Who knows? But I'd say we got a good century ahead of us, probably. Yeah. So anyway, guys, even if the stock market sees a lower low, even if we just like completely crash again, I don't think Bitcoin's going to be going lower than this. I actually think it's more likely that we would just see like a higher low. Right. This is like my most bearish scenario, guys. Right. I'm not saying this is what I think is going to happen. I'm just saying this is like my most bearish outlook. Would that be something like this is the most bearish I think Bitcoin could get. Personally, I actually think that going into the halving now, we're going to see a lot of demand for Bitcoin. And most likely, even if the S&P does see a little bit of a dump, maybe short term, Bitcoin sees a dump with it. Like, maybe we see a couple days of dumping, maybe a week of dumping. But I think eventually the demand for Bitcoin is going to outweigh the bearish sentiment of the stock market going into the halving. at least to a certain extent, right? Maybe we do see lower prices at some point, but I don't think we're going to be getting, you know, I'm betting a lot of money on the market right now that we're not dumping below this, right? Like, I'm placing bets on the market that this is our low long term and that we're not falling below this. I'm actually pretty confident that we're going to be remaining bullish, or at least holding these levels in going into the halving. Yeah, Ivan says, most crypto YouTubers agree with you, Kevin. Well, if you guys are on crypto Twitter, I mean, the amount of bearishness was overwhelming. It was overwhelming. It was crazy, guys. Like, after we hit this low, people were like drawing up charts of Bitcoin just doing this. People were just like drawing charts of Bitcoin doing this. Like everywhere. And I felt like alone for these first few weeks being bullish on Bitcoin. And the most criticism I've ever gotten on YouTube, ever, was calling this low, was basically saying this is the low and we're going to have a reversal. Most hate I've ever gotten. Everyone was like, how dare you be bullish on Bitcoin? How dare you be bullish when the stock market's dropping? Like, we're going to go lower. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Calix says this could dump and retest any time. Yes, it can. That's what I'm saying. If the stock market dumps, Bitcoin could dump to test lower prices. But I'm just saying, I don't think we're going lower than this. Of course, I could be wrong, but I don't think so. Edward Park says Tone Vase is bullish. That worries me. No, I'm just kidding. Matthew says, I remember seeing Kevin post way back before the YouTube channel about Link. That must have mean you were following me on StockTwits. I was posting about Chainlink when it was at like, I don't even know, like 30 cents. I think I was posting about it at 30 cents. No, I had the YouTube channel at that time. Edward says the traditional markets may have bottomed for now, but the huge printing of money will be bad for the markets down the road. Well, it'll be bad for the economy down the road. It's great for the markets right now. Yeah, it's not, I mean, obviously printing too much money is very bad for the economy in the long run, but it's great for the markets right now. We're getting a really nice bounce back, which is really strange because the entire economy is on lockdown, right? I mean, shutdown or whatever. Like, it's so backwards. It's crazy, right? But that's because the Fed saw it coming, right? So they were getting ready to pump the market. They were printing money, getting ready to pump the market. Actually, because that was the original reason the Federal Reserve was created, was to protect against like major economic downturns, which, you know, it's crazy. Hold on, I just unplugged my headset. But yeah, the original reason the Federal Reserve was created was to like protect the economy, which is like kind of hilarious because I think they're just hurting it long term. But they're really good at manipulating and propping up stuff, which I guess that's what they want to do. Long-time viewer and follower, Ventilos, what's up, man? Yeah, I see you in here all the time. Any other alts that is good besides Chainlink? Yeah, guys, there's several altcoins that are good. Again, like I say in all my videos, in my Patreon, I have an altcoin portfolio that my patrons follow. So I don't want to just like start saying which altcoins I have, because that's kind of, a lot of the patrons like having that exclusivity. I think it's a fun thing to do in Patreon. But again, yeah, I'm building up. So a couple months ago, I created a new portfolio from scratch in Patreon. And what I wanted to do was show my viewers how I build a portfolio from scratch and build it up over time. And basically, I wanted to take 10,000 US dollars and invest it in various altcoins. And I'm pretty close to actually finishing that goal. Pretty close to having 10K invested in altcoins alone. And that is a portfolio that you guys can track in Patreon. Romax says, stick to your guns. It's why you're a crypto legend. I don't know if I'm a legend just yet, guys, but I mean, guys, so one thing that I always tell people is I like to provide a consistent analysis where you come back to my channel and you watch the video and you're watching me do a similar analysis that I've been doing over the past month, and you're watching that analysis actually play out long term, right? I like to come back and provide you guys a consistent analysis that you can come back and literally watch happen, right? I like to identify macro trends, right? And so my predictions are generally about longer term movements. And I repeat myself in a lot of videos, and I like to provide the same exact analysis for like a few like, months on end, so that there's something you can follow, there's consistency, and hopefully the analysis plays out and actually brings validity to my analysis. But that's what I like to do, guys. I like to do longer term analysis. I like to talk about longer term moves and provide the same analysis in almost every video. Kind of. Sometimes I change it up in terms of the topics. But I like to provide the same type of analysis so that you guys have something you can consistently follow. And I'm actually providing, I'm not changing my mind in every video. Just flip-flopping like you see a lot of YouTubers do here in crypto YouTube, just flip-flopping constantly. Nobody benefits from that, right? Nobody benefits from somebody who just says one thing then says the other. Nobody benefits from that. Not really. You're just going to confuse people if you do that. Again, guys, I exclusively analyze Bitcoin on my YouTube channel, almost exclusively, and that's why in the Patreon I have a little bit more focus on altcoins, but because Bitcoin is really the most important thing by far. Guys, Bitcoin is basically, because I'm a long-term believer in blockchain tech, and that the crypto market is gonna perform well going into the next few years. And Bitcoin is basically gonna be like, if you will, the Dow Jones of crypto, right? The S&P of, like, I would say like the Dow Jones of crypto, right? The original index that we're gonna use to track the crypto sentiment going into the future, right? So I think Bitcoin will always hold the most value in crypto unless a major corporation creates a cryptocurrency that they somehow can use in a way that creates really good evaluation for it. But I think Bitcoin will probably be the number one for the entire time. Just looking at chat, some people are asking, someone says, Kevin, what do you think about XRP? Well, I have a lot of issues with the way that XRP is run. as my viewers know, I've never been a fan. Not too long ago, Brad Garlinghouse literally said, the way that Ripple makes money is we sell XRP onto the market. Just think about that. The way that we make money is by selling XRP, dumping it on you, the retailer. I'm not a fan of that model. I think that's quite ridiculous. And there's a lot better ways to do money transfer for banking than just XRP. XRP could be useful to some banks. I don't doubt that at all. But the way that they're going to do money transfer settlement in the future is not going to be dependent on like one crypto or something, right? Like, for instance, Chainlink is going to have more involvement in money transfers than XRP because of the way that it interacts with APIs and allows, it allows you to connect with real world data. So think about that. That's the use case for Chainlink is huge. XRP Andy says, yes, what Ripple is doing is messed up. I hate Ripple too, not the asset. Yeah, I just don't like the way that they're running the things. We can just look at the chart, I guess. And I just want to point something out to you guys that I've been literally screaming at Alex Cobb for years. He gets so mad at me whenever I go into his chat and I say this, but I'm like, hey, so XRP is in a descending triangle, and it has been for a very long time, right? I always tell him this, and he doesn't listen, or I used to tell him this, right? For 2 years, we were just seeing lower lows, lower highs, and then we entered a descending triangle and broke down to 11 cents. The XRP army really confuses me. How could you be bullish on an asset that does this, right? You're just seeing lower highs for 2 years straight with horizontal lows, descending triangle, classic breakdown. So predictable, it's unbelievable. I mean, that's XRP for you. Now, looking at the volume, there's actually a lot of accumulation here. So if Bitcoin becomes very bullish, XRP could see another spike up, right? I'm not saying that XRP can't see growth. I don't know. Will XRP do this again? Will it do this again? It's possible. It depends on what Ripple wants to do because they're going to control the price. I'm not saying this is not possible. Maybe we do see a crazy spike like this eventually if Bitcoin's very bullish one day, in the next few months in the future after the halving, whatever. Maybe XRP does see one of those crazy pumps. I don't know. But personally, I'm just not bullish on this. I just don't like this asset. I don't like Ripple. I don't like what they're doing. I think Brad is actually suing YouTube right now for those scam videos. I don't want to say keywords about that. I don't know if I'm going to get banned. Yeah, guys, they're just looking. So again, Ripple can make profits for their investors by selling XRP, right? By dumping the coin on the market, they're making money for their investors. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So yeah, it's really nice to see Bitcoin now trading back above 2019 price levels. Obviously, we used 6430 just above that as support, and now we're bouncing out, breaking out, confirming this bump and run bullish reversal pattern, and seeing a nice breakout. Trading right back in 2019 territory. Of course, right now that $7,700 price level that I was talking about, around where we got rejection just before, is the area just before Bitcoin saw this breakout and then this set of higher lows right here, right? Just before this area right here, that breakout zone right here. So get above 7,700. That's very bullish because that is also going to be a break above the 21-week EMA. In the past few videos, I was talking about 7,700 being that key, that next key upside target. At least 7,700 is what I was saying. We hit that target now, and the 21-week EMA is going to be a pivotal moving average to cross. It generally is. We usually see a lot of volatility after crossing the 21-week EMA, and right now, guys, we are on that level. So if Bitcoin can break above the 21-week EMA, we may see some pretty good upside for Bitcoin. And again, if we break above this 21-week EMA, which is 7,700, we're going to be re-entering the area where Bitcoin had this major move, right? And what you'll notice about this range is, we moved through this range quickly. Here, let me just mark up the resistance. What you'll notice about this area is that, like this area right here, is that we see these major swings, huge downswings, huge upswings, dump straight back down, ran straight through it again. Just like this area came up through it during the bull run. If we get above the 21-week EMA, we may see some pretty high levels of volatility in this range. If we can get above 7,700, break above it, create support along it, we might see some pretty big moves in this area, guys, going into the halving. It's possible. I would say 9,000 might be a more likely target, like short-term, very bullish target. But we'll have to see, guys. Again, the stock market, if there's a major reversal, that could stunt Bitcoin's price from seeing super bullish moves. But above 7,700, guys, is the area where we see the most volatility within this range. Right? Major dumps, major pumps, major dumps, major pumps. So get above 7,700, and you're probably going to see a lot of volatility, a lot of movement within this range. Just looking at chat. Taylor Stanley says, Bitcoin is literally just following the Dow Jones. Open a correlation matrix. It's nearly 100%. Well, I did a video on this. Bitcoin stock market correlation like a month ago or a couple of months ago, whatever. And it's pretty evident that if you look at the correlation coefficient indicator, that shows about 80%. Since Bitcoin was created, there's about an 80% correlation from Bitcoin to the stock market. 80%. Now, of course, that confuses people because they're like, wait a minute, but Bitcoin has so much better growth. It's like, well, yeah, that correlation doesn't mean same percentage moves, right? That's not what it means, right? Like if the stock market goes up tomorrow, like let's see the stock market just sees like a 1% move up, and then Bitcoin sees like 13% move up, huge swing, right? This is still a correlation, even though the percentages are completely different, right? That's something that a lot of people don't understand. Correlation does not mean same percentage moves. And correlation also doesn't mean same market structure. The market structure can be different. It's just all about that macro trend. It's like sometimes there's intraday correlation. Actually, a lot of times there is, but it's like when the stock market goes through a major bull cycle for months and years, Bitcoin's kind of doing the same thing, right? When it sees a huge dump, Bitcoin usually does as well, right? The last time we were at the $3,000 range was when? Right here, guys. The last time Bitcoin was at 3,000 was here. And the next time it reaches 3,000 recently is here on each dump in the S&P. It's so clear. The correlation is so obvious that you literally just have to be in denial if you say that there's no correlation whatsoever. You're literally just in denial and you just don't want to believe it. Guys, Satoshi Nakamoto did not create Bitcoin to hedge against the stock market. That was absolutely not the purpose of Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin was intended to actually become a part of the global economy, right? So Bitcoin is going to be affected by the moves of the global markets. That's normal. What Bitcoin was designed for was to be a hedge against inflation, not a hedge against movements in the stock market. That has nothing to do with Bitcoin's design. It was designed to be a hedge against inflation. The insane printing of fiat currency, which is actually perfect because that is what we're seeing now. Long term, Bitcoin is going to gain a lot of value. Or what I should say is long term, Bitcoin is going to retain a lot of value as we have more fiat flooding the market or flooding the economy. All right, guys, you got to understand that. You have to remember that the way like Bitcoin's design was the way that there's Bitcoin has inflation, but the inflation is decreasing. Like during the halving, we have a reduction in inflation for Bitcoin. So it's designed for that. It has nothing to do with trading against the stock market, right? It's really everybody who understands Bitcoin for real understands what I'm saying, right? People that think that Bitcoin has to be decoupled from the stock market, I just don't understand why. And I also don't understand what magical force is going to make Bitcoin just somehow ignore the stock market. What magical force is going to do that? You wanting Bitcoin to decouple is not a good reason for it to decouple. And there's no fundamental reason why it should decouple because it has nothing to do with its design. Its design has nothing to do with stocks, right? It's about inflation, hedging against inflation, hard money, limited supply, right? A trustless system. That's what it's all about, guys. Sorry, I just had to go on a rant about that because it's so annoying to hear people talk about decoupling. It's so annoying. Bitcoin is supposed to be a part of the economy, guys. It's supposed to be, right? I mean, we should hope it is, right? That's how you're going to see growth. Pori says, do you trade leverage, Kevin? No, I do not. I've actually made entire videos on my channel dedicated to not using leverage. Entire videos where I was saying, I'm warning people against leverage because, guys, how do exchanges make their money? Off of your fees, right? So they just knock the price up, they knock the price down, you're on leverage, this is what they do, right? And guys, percentage-wise, just look at the statistics of margin traders in crypto. It's laughable. It's unbelievable. Like, there's very few traders out there that trade on high leverage successfully over time, right? Because there's a lot of people aren't disciplined enough to do it. Personally, I just avoid it altogether because it has nothing to do with my trading style. I do long-term trading. Sometimes I do position trading, but essentially I like to accumulate cryptos at good areas of value and create good positions for assets that I plan to hold for long periods of time based on macro trend signals. And that's kind of just my style. And then, if I see a market cycle ending and there's clear indications of that, then I'm going to take profits. But some people are diehard hodlers where they're like, I'm never selling. That's not me. I will sell. I absolutely will. I will sell almost all of my crypto at some point if the sell signal presents itself, right? Like in the reason, guys, I started my channel because of the sell signal I got from Bitcoin. You literally look at my first few videos. There's like a video where I'm looking at this parabolic trend right here, right? I'm looking at the parabolic trend and I'm just mapping out the line and I just go like this. It was simple enough. It was actually this simple in a lot of ways to determine that this run was ending, right? You had a parabolic trend. And what happened? We broke it. We just broke it, guys. Like, that was it. Parabolic trend is done. There's not enough demand in the market. We're selling off. And this is when my $2,500 prediction came into play. And I actually just extrapolated the previous bull cycle onto this one. And that led me to a possible downside target of 2,500. Of course, I was off by about $600, but it's not a bad prediction overall. Or it wasn't a bad prediction overall back then, right? But guys, look at that. I mean, you have a parabolic trend and you break it. It doesn't get any simpler than that. And actually, very similar. So here's another interesting thing. Descending triangle. Look, Bitcoin breaks the parabolic trend. Enters a descending triangle pattern. Next one, parabolic trend. What do? We rally all the way up. We break the parabolic trend. And what do? We enter a descending triangle pattern. Very interesting, huh? Really similar stuff going on here for Bitcoin. Very interesting stuff. Right, and this is when, when we broke this parabolic trend, that's when I was looking for the golden retrace, 7,200. And these are the types of long-term macro signals that I look for. Now, of course, recently I was looking for Bitcoin to continue this uptrend going into the halving, of course. But we had a crisis and that did not play out. So now, we had that recovery. We had that major buy action at the low. Bullish bounce back, actually breaking out of this bump and run bullish reversal pattern. And things are looking pretty good. A really nice recovery. So right now, I'm curious to know what the structure is going to look like. There's not really, we have a major downswing and a nice push. We had a major dump. And now we just see higher lows here. So we've had like two major swings in the market. Now I'm kind of waiting to see like what kind of a formation comes in at this point. But I am bullish on Bitcoin overall. Just looking at chat again. Somebody named Kevin in the chat says, Kevin, choose Bitcoin or Link. You want me to pick between Bitcoin or Chainlink? You got to pick Bitcoin, guys. You got to pick Bitcoin because the entire industry is based off of Bitcoin. So, but I believe in both. Like, guys, a lot of people, you got to remember, like, all the exchanges and the trading pairs and all this stuff, it's like, and the number one branded crypto worldwide is Bitcoin, right? Everyone knows Bitcoin. All the exchanges own mostly Bitcoin, and the top trading pairs are Bitcoin. The most volume is Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin is the choice. Yeah, guys, Crypto Cal is saying too many people are tied to their bags. Yeah, I mean, I just have strong conviction that crypto is going to be very bullish going to the next few years. So if we do, if we have some sort of parabolic trend in crypto and we're above all-time highs or whatever, it's a great situation or something. Or maybe we hit 20,000 again and I see these types of signals. Maybe I'll sell. Maybe I'll be making bearish Bitcoin videos, right? Again, so this is my style of analysis is long term, right? So for all year, right, I was bearish or for all 2018, I was bearish and I was making bearish videos. And every time Bitcoin saw a bounce, right, people came back to tell me how wrong I was. Then we dump, and people were like, wow, maybe you're right. Then we bounce again. People come back to tell me how wrong I was. People tell me how wrong I was every bounce, and then eventually we just have a breakdown. And this is where my channel actually has saw growth, right? But same thing happens here, guys. Every time we see a bounce, people tell me how wrong I was, even though I was bearish here looking for 75 or 7,200. So my point is my style of analysis is long term. I hold a certain bias on the market for long periods of time. So for all of 2018, I'm bearish, but I'm holding my bearish bias no matter what happens. Right? For all of 2019, I'm bearish. I'm holding my bearish bias no matter what happens. Right? And people in this area were saying, Kevin, you're a perma bear. Right? People in this area, Kevin, you're a perma bear. And now I've been holding my bullish bias, even despite this dump. I've been holding my bullish bias, and now everyone's saying, Kevin, you're a perma bull, right? But long term, I think that my bullish bias is going to be working out in my favor, right? So I don't mind being called a perma bull in this area, just like I was called a perma bear here, and I was called a perma bear here, right? Because my style of analysis is long term, and I'm holding a bias on the market for months. Right? At least. So that is my answer to all the haters. Guys, we're almost at 300 likes. Definitely hit that like button if you haven't already. And also subscribe to the channel. Guys, be sure to also hit that bell button so you know when I post videos, if I go live again. And also, join the Discord. Join the Discord, guys. The Discord community has been growing. Join that Discord channel. There's a lot of great discussions in there, a lot of cool people. The community has been growing recently. Nice, we had 320 likes already. Let's see if we can hit 400. And also, of course, the platform you see me use is CryptoWatch, so you can sign up with that link. I use CryptoWatch every hour of my life. So the sponsor of this channel is actually a product that I completely believe in. It's not random. I was using CryptoWatch all in this range right here. God damn it. I was using CryptoWatch all in this range, right? Before I even started my YouTube channel, which was around right here. I was already a long-term user of CryptoWatch, and it's actually something I believe in. I never had a single sponsor until CryptoWatch, but the reason I have CryptoWatch as a sponsor is because I actually use it literally every hour of my life. It's pretty ridiculous. Because, guys, I can actually view all my assets all here, in one place. So all I need is this, and I can trade, I can buy, I can sell on Coinbase, Kraken, wherever, all that stuff. Like, I can just do everything I need right here. Who is the best crypto trader on Twitter? Best crypto trader on Twitter? That's a good question. Huh. That's a hard pick. That's actually kind of hard. There's so many, guys. There's so many Twitter accounts. I really can't pick. I don't know. Oh, I really like that Angelo, what is it? Angelo BTC. He's a pretty popular one. He's pretty good. I think that's his name. I think a lot of people know him. Like Angelo BTC, yeah. What's up, guys? I'm just looking at chat right now. Again, this is my first live stream in many months, and I'm kind of just hanging out. Kind of getting used to it again. Haven't streamed in a long time. My live streams used to be a lot more organized. I'm kind of just hanging out right now, just mooning and chilling, basically, as the title says. Bitcoin fund manager, is that guy even around anymore? Does that guy even exist? I feel like he's in jail by now. That guy was so ridiculous. That guy was the biggest. He was such a character. He was such a character. I mean, that guy would just steal people's money and stuff. Like, he'd be making videos just like drenched in sweat, just like so nervous about the market. Like, that guy was a nut job. Probably a criminal. He might be in jail. I'm not sure. Crypto Cali says, I like this hangout. I'm doing yoga and listening. Nice, nice. Yeah, guys, how have you guys been doing during this lockdown? I haven't even talked about that yet. Guys, this lockdown, this quarantine, this coronavirus thing, this global event, you guys are tuning in from all over the world, and we're all experiencing a similar thing. This is like the most historic moment in modern world history. One of the most historic events we've ever seen. Let me know in the chat like what you're experiencing, where you're from, and how it is. Let me know in the chat. Callie Cook says, what are some good crypto YouTubers that you think provide solid TA? Well, guys, it depends. It depends on what you're looking for. It depends on what type of a trader you are. Like, who you watch should be based on your style, actually. Um, if you like more short-term trading, a more short-term trading style, Crown's Crypto Cave is very good. I mean, he also does macro analysis, but he's more so, Crown is more so taking the swings as they come, short term, and he is probably one of the top guys for that. Crypto Crew University. I've never really watched him that much. Um, he's made a couple good calls that I remember, but he's not really my style. Like, his content is not really like what I want to see. I'm not saying he's bad. It's just not the style that I really like to watch. Guys, not every crypto influencer is going to be good for everybody. Yeah, Sunny Decree. I actually been watching Sunny Decree like pretty much around the time that I started my YouTube channel. I was also watching Sunny Decree, and it was pretty crazy when he gave me that shout out because he was like one of the first crypto YouTube channels that I followed, and then he gave me that shout out, which was a pretty cool moment. Yeah, I like Crypto Jeb. I like Crown. They're both good. Again, guys, there's a lot of different types of crypto influencers with like different styles. A lot of people, the way that I like to separate myself is that I'm providing a consistent analysis that I'm very confident in every single video. I'm not changing my mind. I'm always providing the same one, and hopefully it plays out, right? So far, in 2018, I provided one analysis, which was Bitcoin dropping to 2,500, which was close, right? 2019, I provided almost one analysis, which was Bitcoin dropping to 7,200 and creating a larger scale trend, which was almost perfect. It was almost perfect, except coronavirus created this crash. And then that analysis was, the initial part was good, but, this continued bullish trend with these higher lows on this upward sloping trend, that did not play out, obviously, because of this crash. I firmly do believe that we would have been bullish going into the halving had we not had a coronavirus global crisis. Whoops, I shouldn't have said that word on stream. The blank virus. I might be demonetized soon. But yeah, recently, guys, we've just been bullish, looking for this reversal, and it's played out. And this is what I've been talking about on repeat for many weeks now. And we've been talking about, almost a month ago, we were talking about the bump and run bullish reversal pattern, sticking to that bullish bias. That's all been working out. That's all been playing out, which is good. But we'll have to see now. And like what I've been talking about recently in my videos, guys, I've been discussing the stock market, and that if the stock market sees a dump again, it could affect Bitcoin. It could lead us to a potential sell-off. But I was saying it's possible that we could see upwards of 3,000 in the S&P, maybe. Or we could this could be the point where we reverse, who knows? But it might, I think it will affect Bitcoin in a bearish way, but the level of the effect is kind of hard to tell right now because of the increased levels of demand for Bitcoin recently, and the halving coming up, and the interest in Bitcoin is rising right now. Search volume is rising for Bitcoin going into the halving. There's more and more people looking to, get a hold of a full Bitcoin as well at these cheap prices. Yeah, Cheat Code Crypto's channel is good. His videos are unique. He provides really great info. But we've been live for 87 minutes. I'm probably going to end the stream soon. First live stream in many months, guys. But again, if we get above 70, if we can get, okay, so this previous resistance right here and previous support, 7,700. This level right here, right? That previous support, that previous resistance right there. These two areas, the $7,700 level is a key level of interest. Right, so if we can get above, let's say the 21-day EMA, starts rising, and we trade into this area, and we break above 7,700, and we can create support and confirm that, then we could see some nice moves to the upside, possibly 8,200, upwards of 9,000. Right. So again, in my last few videos, I've been discussing the 7,700. Actually, for a few weeks now, I've had my eye on 7,700. We hit that target today. We actually hit 7,700 upside target, which is good. If we can get above that, we're going to be looking at 8,200, possibly 9,000. This previous resistance right here, right? But again, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Another interesting pattern that I've seen recently is also something I mentioned in one of my previous videos. Now, again, this is a little bit more speculative, but it's interesting nonetheless that we've had this Adam and Eve double top pattern. Then we had a second one that looked kind of like an Adam and Eve double top pattern. And there's a potential that the bots may be painting this on the chart. So, who knows? Maybe we sell off a little bit and then we run up to the highs again, right? And before recovering and looking for higher prices. I don't know. Maybe we see this pattern play out again. Maybe not. I just think it's interesting. It's a very speculative idea, but it's an interesting repeat pattern we're seeing in the market. Could be bots at play. Right now, the 4 hour. We have 2 hours left on this 4 hour. It'll be interesting. We're still above previous resistance, so that's good. Guys, definitely hit that like button on your way out. I'm probably going to end the stream soon. Definitely subscribe if you haven't done that. Hit that bell notification. And guys, before we end the stream, be sure to do your rounds. Follow me on Twitter. I post a lot on Twitter these days. Post a lot. Definitely join the Discord channel. The community has been growing. And of course, guys, sign up for CryptoWatch. That link is also in the description. It's a platform that you see me use in all my videos. And if you guys want to, you can join the Patreon, get extra content, support the channel, support my work here, and look at the altcoin portfolio that I've been building. Sid Vicious, what's up, man? Good to see you. So, guys, I'm sorry if I missed some of your comments today. It's been there's been a decent amount of chat. I haven't been really been able to keep up with it that much. Yeah, this stream, I was just kind of just hanging out, relaxing, giving you my thoughts on a few different topics. It's been fun. First live stream in many months, so I got to get used to this again. Shout out to Ventlos and Master of the WP for those donations. Yeah, guys, definitely give me a thumbs up in the chat if you enjoyed the stream. Also, let me know where you're tuning in from. I'm curious to know what countries you guys are tuning in from. Yeah, my top viewers on my analytics are 50% United States, and then second place is the UK, and then after that I think it might be Germany, and then I think it's possibly Sweden. I forget exactly what it is. And then Switzerland is somewhere in there. France is in there. Dominican Republic. I love Dominican Republic. I've been to Dominican Republic a few times. It's a really nice place. Brazil is in the house. We got Norway, Romania. A lot of people from the U.S., Philippines, Kazakhstan. I like to see where you guys are tuning in from. It's pretty cool, guys, how crypto connects people so much. Like it's interesting to see the demographics and just how much. I mean, guys, if you have a crypto YouTube channel, if any crypto YouTubers are watching right now, like it's pretty amazing if you ask your chat where everyone is from, and you just see all these countries coming in. Someone says North Korea. I highly doubt that. Your leader is now in a critical state. So interesting to see that we're holding this level. This 4-hour candle is still looking okay so far. Looking at the 30-minute chart, looking for Kind of just a little bit of sideways chop after that impulse up. So we'll see. Not many sellers stepping in yet, looking at these lower time frames. So again, guys, I mean, overall, looking at Bitcoin, there's, you know, looking at the volume, guys, I don't see that much selling, you know? There's just not that much selling interest. And the reason for that most likely is because who wants to sell Bitcoin at these low prices? Right? Who's going to sell, who wants to be, you know, actively dumping Bitcoin at these low levels, right? It just doesn't make sense. Like, just looking, you know, like you come into this range, you rebound, you come into this range, you sell off, right? You come back into this range, you rebound, right? So fair evaluation right now for Bitcoin is almost exactly where we are, right? Just based off of the structure of the chart. Current levels of fair evaluation for Bitcoin is basically where we're at, right? Now, going into the halving, you do have that increase of demand, and that there's actually incentive for the miners to reduce selling pressure on the market to allow for more price appreciation. So short term, guys, right? Who knows? I have no idea what's going to happen short term. I think, you know, maybe we break out and we come back to retest support before getting an actual breakout. You know, who knows what happens short term? Again, a lot of this will also possibly depend on the stock market. But going into the halving, I do think we're going to see a lot of more buy interest and reduced selling pressure. Reduced selling pressure, guys. Right? There's not much selling pressure down here. There's been a huge reduction in selling pressure after that dump. And also, again, at this point in the stage for Bitcoin, the only reason I think that people would really want to dump Bitcoin is just out of pure fear, right? So in order for Bitcoin to really see another major dump again, in my opinion, that would mean that we would have to see the stock market have some sort of major collapse again. Otherwise, I'm generally still bullish on Bitcoin, as I have been. And right now, guys, CryptoWatch just added the stock to flow model. So if you could do the drop-down analysis tab and you scroll down to stock to flow, click that, and you're here. And looking on the weekly chart, we're coming up on the 21-week EMA, which is interesting. Get above that. That could be a very bullish signal. But the stock to flow, guys, the halving is coming up, and historically, Bitcoin follows the stock to flow model, right? Now, you do get some divergence out of this. Right, you know, when it's very bullish, you exit that channel. So, you know, even in the bull market here, we actually exited to the downside. But generally, Bitcoin follows this. I've never really been a big stock to flow person. Never even really done much of an analysis on it, but CryptoWatch just added it today. So I've just been looking at it recently, and yeah, Bitcoin generally follows. So based on this model, we should be moving up to higher prices going into 2021. So, you know, based on this model, now again, this is going to sound really bullish. This is going to sound like some sort of moon boy thing, but based on the model, on the midline of this channel, it says $30,000 by 2021, by the beginning of 2021, or by the end of 2020, 30,000. Now, we're not necessarily just going to follow that. Who knows what's going to happen? Maybe we actually don't follow it perfectly and we're less bullish, or, you know, who knows? Who knows what will actually happen, how this plays out. But generally, Bitcoin does follow the stock to flow model, and CryptoWatch just added it, so definitely check it out. So, you know, we have a few more months possibly of, you know, at least sideways action before, you know, if the stock to flow model is going to hold true before the next major bullish trend for Bitcoin. I mean, who knows what it's going to look like if we do actually follow it. But again, there are factors that could affect this, which are the stock market. if we see some sort of unprecedented collapse again. But I think the Fed is good at manipulating and they're good at propping things up, and they've been printing a lot of money, so I'm not too worried about it. I just think that most likely the stock market is going to see. Here's what I was looking for. The stock market is most likely going to see, just like increased levels of volatility in this range, possibly lower low at some point, possibly, right? Who knows? But just a lot of volatility within this region is what I would expect for the stock market. And we'll have to see. Again, this is going to be the most volatility that Bitcoin has ever experienced in terms of its relation to the stock market. Bitcoin was released after the 2008 collapse, and we've only seen upside, right? We've only seen upside until recently now, right? So these are the highest levels of volatility that Bitcoin will experience or has ever experienced in the stock market. So it's going to be interesting to see what Bitcoin does as the stock market, most likely sees some huge swings up here. And, who knows, maybe lower lows, right? It'll be interesting to see how Bitcoin handles it. Especially now going into the halving, it's going to be very interesting to see how Bitcoin handles increased levels of volatility in the stock market. Huge upswings, huge downswings. Yeah, stock to flow isn't TA. It's more fundamental, yeah. Stephen Hubbs says that Bitcoin is 81% correlated to the S&P since 2010, and that is generally true. That is true. Bitcoin is heavily correlated to the S&P or to the stock market in general. Of course, now here again, a lot of people hate to hear that, but it's the truth. And there's a few points that people need to realize, which I already said in this stream, but the thing about it is Bitcoin was created as a hedge against inflation, a hedge against the endless printing of fiat currency, a new way to store value, a new way, a new type of money, right? A new electronic cash system. And people seem to think that Bitcoin is just this thing that you trade and it's a hedge. What people used to think was that Bitcoin was a hedge against the stock market, which has never been true, actually, only in short periods of time. And there's almost, I've never seen a Bitcoin expert say, I think the stock market's going to be bearish, so I'm buying Bitcoin, right? I've never seen an expert trade Bitcoin as a hedge against the stock market. Never seen it before, because that's not how it works. If you think the stock market is about to be very bearish and you buy Bitcoin, it's very likely Bitcoin's also going to go down. So here we got to realize that Bitcoin was built for as a hedge against inflation, more or less. So you can't expect it to trade against stocks, because that has nothing to do with its design. Bitcoin was not designed. Within Bitcoin's design, there's nothing to do with stock market in trading against the stock market. In fact, Bitcoin was intended to be a part of the economy. Bitcoin was intended to be a part of the global economy, which is why it's affected by the global economy, because it's global, right? It doesn't make sense to expect Bitcoin to decouple. It doesn't make sense. Why would it? There's nothing within Bitcoin's design says decouple from stock market. There's nothing it's just not a thing. Don't expect Bitcoin to decouple completely, at least. Don't expect it, because it's not going to happen. There's no magical thing that will make that happen. And I know people hate that when I say that, but there's no magical force that's going to make Bitcoin decouple, because it wasn't even designed for that. It's just a fantasy that people have, right? And a lot of people like Pomp on Twitter would always say that, bet on Bitcoin and you're hedging against the traditional system. And it's like, in a sense, you are. you're hedging against fiat, but not against the stock market, right? There's a lot of fundamental things that people need to understand about that. So Bitcoin, even though Bitcoin is correlated to stocks, it doesn't mean that Bitcoin can't outperform Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been 80% correlated to the S&P since 2010. It's been 80%. Look at the correlation coefficient on TradingView, Bitcoin and the S&P. 80% correlation, 80% of the time. But Bitcoin has vastly outperformed any other asset in that time. So even though there's a correlation, it doesn't mean Bitcoin can't do well. Bitcoin can obviously do very well, right? Like if the S&P recovers and sees some upside, maybe Bitcoin's also bullish. But Bitcoin's going to see much higher percentage gains, right? Much higher. That doesn't mean it's not correlated. There are days where it's not. There are days, like recently, where Bitcoin actually traded against the S&P because there was enough demand for Bitcoin at these low prices for Bitcoin to go up while the S&P was going down. But that was that short period of time, right? There are going to be days where Bitcoin goes up while the S&P goes down. Of course, it's not always correlated, but it is correlated generally during extreme bullishness or extreme bearishness in the macro trend, right? Bitcoin has never traded against the S&P on the macro trend. Never happened. Short term it has. That's my view on all that. Just went out on a rant. How do you enable stock to flow? You just go to this analysis dropdown, right? Analysis dropdown tab, and then you scroll down, and it says stock to flow right there. Anyway, guys, I've been streaming for a while now. Guys, I haven't streamed in many months, so thank you for watching my first stream in many months. I appreciate you guys. Hold on, my stream's weird. Anyway, yeah, guys, so I appreciate you guys tuning in. I have to get used to streaming again. It's been a while. I used to stream all the time, but it's been a while since I've streamed. And it was fun, guys. I had fun talking to you guys. It's more personal when I have a stream going and I can just read your comments and just respond directly to you. I haven't done this in a while, but I'm definitely going to start doing it more often because it's a nice change up of things. Also, smash that like button on the video or on the stream before you leave. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell notification. And guys, I'll just drop a few links for you before I go. Of course, sign up for CryptoWatch if you haven't already. Check out the stock to flow model on this analysis drop-down tab. And follow me on Twitter, guys. I tweet all the time these days. I tweet all the time. Tweeting all the time. Twitter is addicting. I've gotten addicted to Twitter recently. Join the Discord. We have a growing community. Join that Discord channel as well. And if you guys want to support the channel, lastly here, you can join the Patreon. Check out some of the altcoins that I've accumulated in there. And get some extra content on some of the days that I'm not posting on YouTube. But anyway, guys. Oh yeah, also, check out this guy's channel who is the song in all of my videos. I've never even talked to this person before, but I use his song in all my videos because it's free to use. Definitely go to his channel and just subscribe. Just support the song creator of the song that I use in all my videos. Which I guess I can play as an outro right now. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in. I appreciate you guys supporting the channel. We've gotten that bounce back for Bitcoin we were looking for recently. We've gotten the breakout to 7,700 that we were looking for recently. So I'm really liking what I see in the market. And guys, hit that bell button so you can get those updates in my videos. because I'm going to be updating you guys, of course, as things play out in all of my videos. And I might stream more often soon, so definitely stay tuned for that. You guys are the best. I also have to give a shout out to Ventilos and Master of the WP for those donations. Guys, I appreciate you all for tuning in, and I will see you all in the next one.